Have you ever looked at your life right now, sitting in a messy room or staring blankly at a computer screen, and wondered what on earth happened to all of your potential? If you rewind the clock 10 or 15 years, you were probably the kid who had it all figured out. You were the one reading books 3 grade levels above your age, acing tests without ever having to study, and constantly receiving glowing praise from teachers and parents. You were labeled the gifted child, the smart one, the kid who was absolutely destined to do massive, world-changing things. Everyone looked at you with wide eyes and told you that the sky was the limit. But today, as an adult, the sky feels incredibly low, heavy, and suffocating. You are not changing the world. In fact, some days just sending a simple email, doing the laundry, or making a phone call feels like climbing Mount Everest. You feel chronically exhausted, paralyzed by a constant sense of underachievement, and haunted by the terrifying thought that your peak years are already behind you. This is the silent, devastating reality of former gifted child syndrome, and it is a specific, profound type of psychological burnout that society rarely talks about. To understand how the smart kid turns into the paralyzed, burnt-out adult, we have to examine the psychological damage caused by the way we praise children. When you were young, the adults in your life likely praised you for your inherent traits rather than your effort. They did not say, "I am so proud of how hard you worked on this." They said, "You are so incredibly smart," or "You are a natural genius." While this sounds like a wonderful compliment, psychology reveals that it actually plants the seeds of a massive lifelong trap known as a fixed mindset. Your developing brain internalized a very dangerous equation. It learned that your identity, your value, and your entire worth as a human being were strictly tied to being effortlessly perfect. You learned that struggling with a concept meant you were no longer smart, and therefore no longer worthy of love and admiration. Because everything came so easily to you in your early years, you never actually learned how to fail. You never developed the critical psychological resilience required to handle struggle. You never learned how to study, how to ask for help, or how to navigate the messy, uncomfortable process of being bad at something before becoming good at it. So, when you eventually hit the wall, when the math got too advanced, or the college classes demanded actual effort, or the professional world required complex networking instead of just passing a test, your entire identity shattered. Instead of seeing a challenge as a normal part of learning, your fixed mindset perceived it as a catastrophic threat. Your brain panicked, screaming, "If I have to try hard, it means I'm not a genius anymore." And so you adopted the ultimate defense mechanism. You simply stopped trying. You realized that it is psychologically much safer to be seen as a brilliant person with wasted potential than to try your absolute hardest and risk being exposed as ordinary. This fear of failure completely paralyzes your transition into adulthood. The real world does not operate on a neatly organized syllabus. There are no gold stars, no clear grading rubrics, and no teachers patting you on the back at the end of every semester. Adulthood is vast, unstructured, and deeply ambiguous. For a mind that thrives on constant, immediate external validation, this environment is absolutely terrifying. You find yourself trapped in an endless loop of analysis paralysis. Because you were told you could do anything, you feel an immense, crushing pressure to do everything perfectly. You want to write the perfect novel, start the perfect business, or find the perfect career, but because you are so terrified of producing something mediocre, you end up producing absolutely nothing. You sit on the couch, endlessly scrolling through your phone, watching your peers, who perhaps were not the gifted kids, but who learned the value of hard work and resilience, slowly surpass you. The shame of watching them succeed while you remain frozen is agonizing, leading to a deep, chronic state of depression and executive dysfunction. This executive dysfunction is often mislabeled as laziness, but it is actually a state of profound nervous system overwhelm. Your brain is essentially short-circuiting under the massive weight of your own terrifying expectations. The gap between where you think you should be, based on all those childhood promises, and where you actually are right now is so vast that it creates a permanent state of cognitive dissonance. You are physically exhausted from fighting a psychological war inside your head every single minute of the day. You are mourning the loss of a spectacular future that you were promised, but never actually existed anywhere except in the imaginations of the adults around you. Breaking free from the suffocating grip of gifted kid burnout requires a radical, painful, and ultimately beautiful dismantling of your entire identity. The first and crucial step is to grieve. You must give yourself permission to mourn the imaginary, perfect version of yourself that you have been carrying around for decades. You have to finally put down the heavy, unbearable burden of your potential. Potential is not a debt you owe to the universe. It is a ghost that haunts your present moment, stealing your joy and freezing your actions. You must completely decouple your self-worth from your intelligence and your achievements. You are not a human doing, you are a human being. Your value does not decrease simply because you are working a normal job, living a quiet life, or struggling to figure things out. You have to give yourself the radical permission to be completely, wonderfully average. Being average is not a failure, it is the statistical reality of the human experience. There is profound peace to be found in releasing the arrogant, exhausting belief that you are supposed to be extraordinary. Finally, you must learn the lost art of being a beginner. You have to embrace the deep discomfort of sucking at something. Pick up a hobby that you are genuinely terrible at. Paint a bad picture, write a garbage poem, or learn an instrument and play it out of tune. Rewire your brain to understand that effort is not a sign of stupidity, but the absolute prerequisite for growth. Celebrate the messy, imperfect, difficult process of trying rather than just the flawless outcome. You do not have to save the world. You do not have to be a prodigy, a millionaire, or a visionary. The adults who placed those massive expectations on your small shoulders were wrong to do so. You are allowed to simply exist. You are allowed to take up space without having to constantly prove your brilliance. It is time to step off the exhausting pedestal you were placed on as a child, plant your feet firmly on the solid, imperfect ground, and finally begin the quiet, beautiful work of just living your life exactly as it is.